This story's been making the rounds. People have asked me about it because they want to know what I think about it, which is cool. To a certain extent, it's kind of like, it's one of those no duh kind of articles, you know, where it's like, no duh, of course they're trying to do that. It's like when you hear a game director say, or maybe the better example, it's like when Apple has an event and they're like, this is the best phone we've ever made. And you're like, I would hope so. It's the newest one and you're charging the most for it. It better be the best phone you've ever made. It's a similar thing with this. We're like, ooh, did you hear that they're going to try to make the most realistic crowds in any video game? I'm like, no duh. Like they better be trying to make the best ones. You would think, you know, but what's interesting about this specifically is the fact that it's coming from job postings. And so they're looking to hire people. So basically, if we just run through this really, really quickly, CD Projekt has recently posted a series of job openings for the upcoming RPG, which gives the first indication of the ambition of the project. While job postings and listings are rarely completely accurate reflections of the finished games, one note in the listing for a lead encounter designer points to one of the milestones CD Projekt is looking to reach during development. Among the daily responsibilities, successful applicants will be expected to, quote, work in close collaboration with the systems design team to create the most realistic and reactive crowd system in any game to date. Interesting. It's unclear if this refers to something like Red Dead 2's conversation system, wherein every NPC could be spoken to, or if the developer is simply looking for more realistic general reactions to player actions, which would be something like, you know, you're walking down the street and you fire your gun and then you see everybody duck and run. That's like a reactive system. What I hope this is, and this has been something that was reaffirmed, I think, with KCD 2's success, having NPCs that live in the world, I think is awesome. And I love that. But I understand sometimes it's not practical. But what we've seen is maybe the best comparison would be between Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Assassin's Creed Shadows, because with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, all of the NPCs have schedules. They all have like places where they live, where they sleep. You can follow guards home or to their barracks, and before they go to bed, they'll take off their clothes and armor, put them in their chest at the end of their bed, and then go to bed in whatever, a nightgown. And you can follow them around. Like there was even, you know, people just recently realized that you can follow, like if the maybe shopkeeper, the grocer at a small village, he lives in this house. When you wake up in the morning and you go to try and buy something from him, oh, he's still in his house. You can look in through the window and see him eating breakfast with his family. And after he finishes breakfast, he will get up and then go to work when you can interact with him. Like they have schedules and routines and they do stuff together, and it makes it way more immersive. It makes it work way, way better, I think. And I love that. I love those little details, and it makes the world feel much more real, much more alive and immersive. And Assassin's Creed used to do that. In Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you could, and I'm not joking, you can try this yourself if you have the games. Go download them and try it. You kill a guard and then you leave. You can, you know, pop the bird up, watch them, whatever. But you kill a guard and then you get up and you leave. And once, you know, your anonymity is regranted, guards will find the body, stop looking for you, give up, and they'll collect the bodies. They'll pick them up and carry them outside the castle walls, and they'll put them in a pile, all the dead bodies, where somebody later comes with a like wagon to pick up the bodies and move them over to be buried. They also all have their own routines. They all have places where they go to sleep in the camp. You might remember in Origins, there's a whole system and mechanic where Bayek might have an assassination target, but that target only moves from Alexandria down the Nile River to this other city at nighttime. And so you have to wait till night and then follow him as he walks in real time from Alexandria down the Nile. And it made it really immersive because the world was literally living. Like you had all of these different things simulated where all these NPCs and characters were off doing their own things. And what we've seen with Shadows is that they've removed that. They've removed it, which frankly, I don't like. When I was at the preview event, I asked the game director, Jonathan Dumont, the creative director, about this. And he had reasons for individual pieces. So he said, for example, the reason that they removed the burying thing where they collect the bodies Imagine you're playing Shadows, you assassinate a guard or a samurai or something, and then they collect the bodies and move them into a pile to then be taken away to be buried. He's like, culturally, that would not have been done. That would have been considered really disrespectful, and we wouldn't want to do that. So we cut that out and we removed that. As for the day-night cycles, having NPCs go to bed, having like their full routines and all that simulated, he said it just wasn't that practical, especially because with the weather systems, there's already so much to factor in. It just was really complex and wasn't really working. It wasn't coming off to players that well. So we removed that as well. So he had reasons for stripping all this out, but even if there's reasons to do something, it doesn't mean that I have to like what you chose to do, you know? Like, ultimately we're making a video game. You can change things based on any number of stimuli. And in this case, I think stripping down NPC complexity, I think is not where we should be going. I think the success of KCD2 reaffirms that people love immersion in open world games. When they get it, they get excited. They love it. But you have to take those steps, and it is complex and there is a lot of headaches involved with it, I'm sure. I can only imagine how complicated it is to get something like that working. But I think as we move into the next era of open world games, we should be pushing for more of the KCD2 style of things, where things are simulated and realistic, where NPCs are living and breathing and behaving the way you would expect them to, and away from the more arcadey stuff. I understand not every game is going to be for everybody. Some people like the more arcadey, the more gamified stuff where things are not simulated super realistically. The way one commenter put it, I think it was in response to the KCD2 video thing we did. Basically, somebody commented and was like, honestly, I don't like really realistic NPCs. It makes me feel bad for killing them, which I thought was such a funny and interesting thing to say. It's like, if it's more realistic, I'll be too immersed and then I might feel bad for killing a guard in cold blood or something. And I was like, isn't that a really cool thing though? That even though it's just zeros and ones, none of this is real. Because of the, like, how immersed you were, you started to emotionally empathize with NPC. Like, I think that is a testament to the immersion and why that's a really impressive and good thing that they should keep doing, because it can lead players to situations where they will behave less in a psychopathic way and be behaving more in a way appropriate for the world that they've built. But, you know, I can understand how maybe somebody's like, you know, oh, I just want to play the game. I don't want to have to think about all that. I just want to be a murder hobo. Like, okay, I guess turn off your brain. But I think that that level of immersion is a remarkable thing that only video games are really able to do in that, to that degree. And I think that that's something that we should encourage and praise when we see it. And it's actually, it brings me, you know, to some of the newer games, as we see with this one. You know, they're pushing for immersion. They're pushing for more realistic sim. And one of the games, you know, that I'm sure we're going to see amazingly realistic simulations of is GTA 6. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have crazy stuff in there. Even with Red Dead Redemption 2 compared to GTA 5, things were way more immersive. So I can only imagine what they're going to do in GTA 6. Like, the running joke is in GTA 6, you just run everybody down with your car. You know, like, people don't take it that seriously, I guess. You know, they I think people can largely disconnect. But if GTA 6 has the same level of NPC, or likely better NPC simulation than Red Dead 2 did, I think you could see some really interesting things where player styles, to just be totally insane, might not be the same with GTA 6 compared to GTA 5. I think players might approach the game much differently, which will be interesting. Shrinking horse balls was worth all the data and crunch, I'm sure. It's all the details, man. It's all the details. Just that though, that I remember that went viral, and just that going viral could have led to a bunch of extra sales. It's one of those things where, like, something goes viral and you pause and you ask, wait, is that a good thing? Like, why am I excited for that? Why does that make the game worth buying? But it's enough that people talk about it, and then it passes through like the zeitgeist once more, and then people eat it up. AZ, thing of the 5, do you really think GTA 6 won't play in 60 FPS? No, I'd be like shocked and stunned if it runs at 60 FPS on console. Yeah. CDPR got huge funding from Polish government for realistic crowd systems for Cyberpunk, so yeah, don't hold your breath. Yeah, It's one thing I don't personally love about video games is government involvement. I understand that there's grants that come in where they throw money at these studios to help with development of stuff, but I personally don't like the government involved in my hobby. So I understand some games can't be made without government funding, but I'd say the good ones will find a way. You know, like Dustborn. Dustborn was built primarily with grants from governmental bodies and like all sorts of initiatives from the EU and stuff. So like if we cut that governmental funding, I think the industry will be okay. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll manage.
He took my thing.